We don't really do it. You know, the mayor of Plainville. We should introduce him. Yeah, way down
Yeah.
there.
I'll give him a chance to introduce himself.
Oh, jeez. Please, sir.
Line to say chair isn't here, right?
Yeah.
We okay to start? I'm showing 6 o'clock. Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started tonight. Thanks everybody for coming to Plan Commission meeting. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Our first item is the invocation of thought by Commissioner Garner and then the pledge of allegiance by Commissioner Shea. To that point.
Our beloved Heavenly Father, we are indeed grateful for this opportunity to meet together as a planning commission. Father, we pray that thy spirit will be with us to guide us and help us in meeting the needs of our citizens of this community. We are grateful for all that you have blessed us with and for this great land. And we say these things humbly in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. If you'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item is to adopt our meeting agenda. It's been posted in accordance with state law. And so if we could take a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Garner. We have a second.
One second.
Commissioner Shea, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Also tonight, all the planning commission members are here except for Commissioner Dennis Johnson. And we also tonight have our new commissioner, Mr. Peter Anderson, just was appointed by the mayor and he's here with us on the stand. I'll take a minute or two to introduce yourself to the rest of the commission. You kind of talked already, but.
Yeah, I'm Peter Anderson. I've lived here in Syracuse since 2018, I think. And I'm a civil engineer currently working on a lot of UDOT, big UDOT projects, West Davis, 89, 84, did the previous 89 projects. So I've been in civil engineering for about 15 years now or so.
Thank you. Welcome to the commission. Next item is to our regular minutes from our regular and work session minutes from our last meeting. We need to review them and adopt them. If anyone has comments, might go ahead and add comments or corrections, or we can just take a motion to adopt.
Move to adopt.
Okay, a motion to adopt. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Next item on our agenda is the public comment period. This is an opportunity for the public to comment on items that are not scheduled for a public hearing tonight. We do have 3 public hearings tonight. So if you're here for those public hearings, please wait and you can comment at the appropriate time for that. If you want to make a comment on something else, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and make your comment. And please try and keep it to 3 minutes or less. Okay, go ahead and close public hearing. Public commenting. Next item is a public hearing for conditional use permit for a home preschool. So Royce, you got this one?
I do, Mr. Chair. So this is it's a home preschool that once they get large enough, they need a conditional use permit from the Planning Commission. So they are an administrative approval though, where it's a conditional use permit. So if they meet the requirements of the city code, we are obligated to approve it. There are pretty limited requirements in the city code. A lot of the regulations for preschools and daycares and things of that nature are going to be regulated by the state and through our business licensing. So they do need to obtain a business license and they're aware of that, working with our business license professional currently. But analysis of the business shows that it does meet all the requirements of the code. We do have limitations for the percentage of the building that it can occupy. It also has to have a backyard that's fenced. In addition to that, kind of above and beyond, they've provided a pickup drop-off plan here. So the idea to just follow essentially the flow of traffic, do pick up and drop off along the side of the curb here, and then the students would go in the front door of the house. And then here's an outline of the building. Again, this one is a code requirement just to show access and how the preschool will operate within the house. So they have the preschool area here with facilities for it. They are allowed up to 70% of the day of the building to be used for preschool. In the code, they're only using about 33%, so that's well within the requirements of the code. So based off of the analysis of the business, we would recommend that it be approved.
Okay, thank you. This is scheduled for public hearing tonight. So we'll go ahead and open public hearing. Same rules apply. If you want to comment, please come to the podium, state your name and address. If you are the applicant, why don't you wait and we'll have you come up and you'll have more time to talk that way. So we open public hearing. Okay, we'll go ahead and close public hearing. The applicants in the audience, we want to have her come up and answer questions for us, or are we comfortable with what we've got here? If you want to come up, you can just talk about what you're planning to do.
I'm Sunny Houston. You want my address?
Yes, ma'am.
3181 South, 1275 West in Syracuse.
Thank you. So why don't you tell us what you hope to do here? I mean, Royce already walked through most of it. Is there anything you want to add to what he said?
Not really. My goal is to start a preschool. I'm an educator right now in the elementary. My goal is to be home next year with my own children. And the need for preschool is skyrocketing, especially with all-day kindergarten becoming the norm.
Mhm.
And in our neighborhoods, the preschool is growing that need. So I want to be able to, do both for my family and provide a service for our community.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions?
And Sunny, what we have is just 9 to 11:30, correct?
Yeah, as right now. And if in the years coming, I would need to come back if I wanted to. I'm not have a plan to do that, just the morning, but
Thank you.
yeah.
How many kids are you?
8.
8.
Mhm. Or a class, so 16 total.
So 2 classes.
Yeah, 2 classes of 8.
My other question is, has there been any issue with the neighbors having
With my name?
traffic on your?
Oh, with the neighbors?
The neighbors.
No, not most of them, well, all of them have been good about it. And they haven't had any complaints, at least not to me. So they've been good about it. So hopefully it should go pretty smoothly. The parents just drop them off and then pull away. I'm right there. So, and it's after their school hours. So hopefully.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, discussion with the commission, or we can take a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, thank
I
you.
move the planning commission approve the request of Sunny Houston for a major home occupation preschool called Sunny Days Preschool on property located at 3181 South, 1275 West in the R2 zone.
Thank you. Do you have a second?
I'll second that.
You have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Next item is a public hearing for preliminary plat for the Greens at Glen Eagle.
Yeah, so this one, we did a rezone for this a few months ago. The city council approved it, basically an R2 zoning officially, but so it has an R2 density, R3 lot dimensions though. So kind of a hybrid zoning. The plat as it's been proposed here does meet all requirements of the city code. It's actually right on a couple of them. There's a minimum street separation, intersection separation. If you measure from the center points here, it's almost exactly to the foot in the separation. So also in this point as well. Given the location, the only thing that was sort of a question that we had in our analysis was whether or not we wanted to do that street cross section that we've discussed a couple of times with the bulb outs there on the corner. I have a drawing of that I pulled up, but essentially, these bulb outs are not in existence currently in the neighborhood. So if I pull up the map here and kind of show you the surrounding area. So this subdivision is a couple decades old now. So fairly standard street cross sections in the area. So this would be basically just two intersections where we'd have kind of an anomaly of those bulb outs with no real cross access for pedestrians necessarily. There isn't really a destination down here at all. So determined that was not going to be required in this case. So with that, it meets all the zoning requirements, the city code requirements, and essentially will allow for this last bit of empty property to develop, which in the overall area, it was part of an original development plan for this whole area around the golf course. So this would be kind of one of the few leftover parcels here that hasn't been developed. So based on the fact that it does meet the requirements of the code, we would recommend approval.
Are those buildings already on the property still there, or are they?
To my understanding, yes. The applicant is also online here. He can speak to that.
Okay. We'll get it in a minute. We've got a public hearing scheduled for this as well. So we'll go ahead and open public hearing on this item. And we'll go ahead and close public hearing. It's back to the commission for any questions or comments or motion.
I have a question.
Okay.
On lot 11, is there really a fence that goes like kind of not parallel to?
You're talking about this southern property line?
Because note 4 says that's a fence.
Yeah, let me pull up the
Can we?
drawing here. So I can zoom in a little bit better. You can see a fence at that location. Yeah, I think it's almost parallel with the fence to the south. Not sure why it's not quite in the same
Doesn't look
plane,
parallel.
but it does exist.
It just kind of looked like an error to me. I just want to make sure that it's not.
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's just an odd lot.
Yeah. Big lot. It's a big lot though.
It's nice.
It's like lot 104 kind of takes up that back end,
That 104 must go over and go to the
wraps
around the other one.
Yeah. And I guess that was my question on that. I don't think we need the traffic bulb out things here. That
No,
But
with that short of a street, that wouldn't matter.
yeah, we're talking literally just a couple of cul-de-sacs.
And they're only two.
although they are meant as traffic calming, so it's not just the into the cul-de-sac. It would be anybody traveling along there would be encouraged to reduce speeds.
True.
The curve in the road is where I look at it and say, well, that would look kind of interesting to have the road shift and the bulb out at the same time. So
The road shift will kind of calm it a little bit anyway.
correct, yeah. So I'm fine either way.
Okay. Any other questions? We can take a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Is the applicant online, you said?
He is, yeah. I'm not sure if he's able to talk on there. It says he's on the Zoom. I have I text from him. I guess if you have questions, I can relay those.
Do we have?
I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Oh, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah. I would be happy to answer any questions that you do have. This property was the property that you were looking at. I think it said lot 104, if I remember correctly. So this was a larger property that at one point in time had that property in it. This is Danny Hammond's old property. And so Danny Hammond still lives in that home of lot 104. And so when he subdivided these parcels off, I don't know exactly what the specifics were of having that, you know, angled that particular way, but that's how his surveyor had it all drawn up to sell. And so we have had the surveyor out there and do a complete survey on our property and then drop the legals and everything just as it is along that fence line. And so we just followed exactly what he was wanting to sell. So, but yeah, it is a little bit of an odd angle there. But I have had, if there's been as much interest in anything, it's been in that lot, because I think that's probably the only lot of that size in the entire city of Syracuse that would be available for home building.
That's a good sized lot.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't have a illegal RV storage in their backyard.
I think we'll be taking care of that pretty quickly.
Any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you. We
No
can
problem.
discussion or motion.
Make a motion.
Okay, please.
Mr. Chair, I move that the planning commission approve the request of Brock Johnson for a minor plat called the Greens at Glen Eagle on property located approximately at 3800 West, 1320 South in the R2 zone, as approved by City Council on September 10th, 2024.
Okay, a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is a public hearing for an ordinance amendment on creation of a light commercial zone ordinance. Noah's got this one.
Good evening. Last time during our meeting, we talked about this. I tried remembering what you guys said, and hopefully have implemented into a version that you all feel is acceptable to forward to City Council. I've just added it in the format that we're familiar with the permitted uses. Other than that, everything is still the same. You still have some pretty limiting lot standards, or I guess conservative, maybe not limiting, but you can only do a 1-story building. You have a really deep rear yard, 30 feet, side yard, 30 feet. But yeah, any questions or comments on what I've included or excluded?
I think you mentioned on everything we talked about.
Can you review the fencing that we talked about?
That's right. I did not put anything about fencing in there. I think I may have forgotten about that. But we could either amend the buffer ordinance or add specifics here. You were saying to add the masonry as a required. Because currently light commercial is just a vinyl fence.
Didn't we look at, if we want masonry, we have to add that. Didn't we look at the buffer ordinance last time and it had something that already could have been in here? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we could specifically say, call out the type of buffer that is required. So if let me pull up the buffer ordinance. Can't remember if it's buffer C or D. Okay, so here's the ordinance. If we go 1030-080, if you had light commercial coming in next to single family, it's C. So C is a 6-foot vinyl, composite or precast. I mean, it does say when determining these, like up here in the language here, determining what it is, it does say that the planning commission can weigh in and say which one is the most appropriate. Let's see. The planning commission may determine the buffer type if it is not clearly described in table 2. Planning commission may determine the land use category if it's not clearly described in table 1. And then number 3, so if we alter the actual required buffer, it's required to go to city council. But if we look here, so here's table 1, table 2. So that's what that would be talking about. Planning commission may determine the buffer type if it is not clearly described in 2. So light commercial, yeah, next to single family, like I said, is C. But we could, there's 2 ways to do that. Is you could just say that buffer D is required in the ordinance, in the light commercial ordinance, come out and say it. Or we can amend this part of the ordinance, but we didn't, we weren't planning on marking up a different chapter of the ordinance, but we could recommend to pull that in there and just make that change.
I would lean more that I would just make it D, since that is currently, so that they do go to the precast concrete, and then we get extra landscaping, just extra trees. I'm okay with going down to, less buffer width, but.
And in the zoning ordinance, when we talk about yards, we're just talking about setbacks for buildings. So there's a chance that they could have a parking lot within 10 feet of the boundary as well. So requiring this D would give you 15 feet of landscaping.
Having lived next to a light commercial building, I did have to maintain my fence quite a bit. It was against that, and it was as a wooden fence, and I don't know how it happened, but I would often that side of my house, I had to fix the fence several times. That's just why going to the 6-foot vinyl, I would say I would like to see concrete, but
Yeah, I don't have a problem with
I agree with that.
D. Yeah. I think we can just put it.
Just add in, just change it to D instead of C.
Just put it right. I'm thinking put it right in the ordinance itself rather than some of the buffer ordinance. We just specify in the ordinance that buffer will be a D in this case.
Okay.
Make sure and put that in the motion, or we can table it and bring it back, which we feel best about.
I think we should just put that in the motion without any problem.
I was kind of looking at this and I'm trying to figure out how it would work. If you have a 25-foot required front yard and a 30-foot required rear, are you planning to, and if it's some kind of a business, that puts them in kind of an awkward position for, if you're parking in the front and back, because you can't move it, too far back and have parking in the front. To me, it seems like we're making it so it's a very difficult thing for a business owner to locate in this zone, given those setbacks.
Yeah, we want to find the balance. We want to be business friendly. We don't want to paint them into a corner by any means, but we also want one thing having a nice front yard setback does is it requires, it requires that landscaping in front. They could still have parking in front of the building if they wanted to, but you just can't have parking in the front setback. But you could, I know that some zones are 15. That's not unreasonable if you wanted to change that. I know that some areas want to have more of an urban feel and they let the building be right up close to the back of the sidewalk. But in our suburban context, I would think we still want to have a pretty nice entry.
Yeah, I agree.
Frontage landscaping.
I'm just wondering if we made it so the front yard was 15 feet and then the backyard was try and encourage so the parking goes around the back of the business rather than the front. If we give them more back and less front, you know, that might encourage the parking around the back instead of the parking right in front. Also, I encourage people not to park on the curb as well. It would be, you know, if they park.
Yeah.
That's,
You know, and we do have some provisions that try to encourage people to park in the back in some circumstances, like in the town center overlay.
uh-huh.
But certain businesses just really oppose that as well. So yeah, if you guys want to recommend a 15-foot, I don't have a problem with that.
How's the rest of the commission feel?
I agree with 15.
I think it's a good idea. It'll encourage you people to park around the rear side of the building. Will do all the things that you have, but it'll also encourage, like we were kind of saying, that front yard, that maintenance and upkeeping that frontage. A lot of times when maybe some of these ladder commercials have parking in the front, they tend to maybe not have as much beautification,
right,
and maintenance on the front of their buildings. And this would encourage that, as well as open them up to be able to move their building a little further forward. They potentially give them more parking in the back.
And I still think it gives them enough for aesthetic.
Thank you. Bye.
Did we do public hearing on this?
Yeah, this is a public hearing.
And did we have one? I forgot. Did I already do?
Oh, I don't think that you called
Okay.
to the audience, but
Well, let me go ahead and, since I don't want to forget that, go ahead and we'll have a public hearing on this item. You've heard us discussing it already. So we'll go ahead and open a public hearing. Same rules apply as other times. And we'll close public hearing. Okay, now we're back. Any other thoughts, or we can take a motion?
I just think the motion has to include what Scott was talking about, and then also make the change to the 15-foot.
And did we, I think I saw that it still said car. We changed that to vehicle headlights.
Which one was that?
If you scroll down to next, where there's our search for headlights. Right there. Oh. So 1091-050, so that.
Oh yeah, car headlights.
You know, we want to shield.
Yeah.
Good big trucks.
Yeah.
Headlights shining across over the sidewalk and things.
Okay, so I have written down, we changed it to a 15-foot front setback, buffer for fence or buffer D, buffer D, and then change car to vehicle.
Correct.
Okay. I'm an engineer. Okay, anything else, or we can take a motion on this?
I did the last one, my voice is going, so.
Motion language.
I'm not sure they had one for this one. It's just,
Did you?
we sent it to city council.
It's to send it to the city council.
Yeah, city council. So yeah, we'll just have to,
I can make the motion.
okay, if you want to.
Excellent.
I'll try to remember everything. Mr. Chair, I move that we recommend to city council to create the light commercial zone as written, with exception of the front yard setback changed to 15 feet and the adjacency to type D instead of type C,
And then change car to vehicle.
and change the word car to vehicle.
Okay, we have a motion. For a second?
I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Next item is to adjourn to work session.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are now in work session. So we'll turn, and the first item work session is our city council report. Commissioner Watson.
Sure, I do have some updates. We had our business meeting last week and we voted on a couple of different things that I'll make you aware of. Let's see. We did vote to appoint Peter Anderson to the Planning Commission. Mission accomplished. Let's see.
What?
Are we at a majority engineers now?
Yeah, I think so.
There's not an end.
All right. Let,
Does that count?
The odd one out.
all right.
Dennis,
We
the electricians.
we voted to approve a proposed ordinance for the property at 3100 South, 2300 West from residential R1 to planned residential development. That's the one with the school and the
Okay.
that PRD.
The one by the new charter school.
Yeah, new charter school behind the Public Works building. So we did approve that. We did approve your recommendation for the zoning change for the professional office space. For it was that,
The corner one.
yeah, that corner office space that used to be the UDOT property. Yep. And then the rezone at 1185 South, 300 West was that kind of weird shaped small R2, A1 to R2, where the lot line didn't match the new zoning quite yet.
Oh, they didn't get that.
It's yeah, it's in there, so it'll happen essentially at the same time. So, but that was approved. The buffer yards, the code pertaining to buffer yards was updated per your recommendations.
That
So
was
that-
added in the
Yep,
against freeways.
yep, against the freeways. So we now have buffer yard requirements against freeways. And let's see, the municipal codes section regarding pedestrian access walkways in commercial developments was approved. And I think that was pretty, I don't think there was any additional changes from what you guys had recommended on that. And I think that's it. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
City Attorney, we have anything from us?
Thank you. Oh.
Okay, thank you. Upcoming agenda items.
Okay, our next meeting is March 4th. And we're looking to bring the Salt Rock project, the PRD, proposed PRD, east of Jensen Nature Park. We'll be doing a public hearing and posting a sign. And we also have a revised site plan for Pacific Steel. We also have a proposed development agreement amendment of Shoreline. There's a lot that's on the far west that is kind of the thing that's different from everything else. And they're just trying to get away from it. And then we also have another rezone request on 700 South that go to R3. So it should be another busy meeting. Looking forward to March 18th. We probably will have a Legacy Park Estates final plat, phase 4 and 5. And that's all we have to report.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions for staff on the agenda items? Okay, next item is commission reports. Anyone have anything they want to report on?
Just wanted to mention, so the WFRC has an active transportation committee and they're creating a training for, peds and bikes and kind of helping cities understand. And so I pointed out our recent changes to our commercial developments that just approved. And so they were excited to hear about it and they're going to probably use that as an example for other cities
Oh, great.
to start implementing that in theirs.
Look at us being trendsetters.
Exactly. Okay, thank you.
Mm.
Anything else? Okay, well, thanks, everybody. We'll take a motion to adjourn then.
Move to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
I like the short list.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about Antelope Drive. I know in late